That's on Saturday. Do you believe this? Pro-Palestinian protesters shouting at the cops, preventing them from entering and destroying the museum and even lighting the Israeli flag on fire. Yeah, this is America. Here with his reaction, retired NYPD inspector attorney himself, Paul Morrow. Paul, NYPD, KKK, what does that do for morale?
I mean, it's ridiculous. First of all, for years now, the NYPD has been majority minority. All right, there's that. Secondly, the last couple of police commissioners, people of color. All right, much of the executive ranks, people of color. So, and by the way, great strides in bringing women into the department. It's completely divorced from reality. This is just BLM rebranded. They're just looking for, most of these folks, if you went out, they couldn't find Palestine or Israel on a map. This is just the latest flavor. That's what they're jumping on.
And the other big story is a story that's not going away over the last 5 years, and that is more and more men and women turning in the badge. I quit.
Yeah.
At an alarming rate. Check this out. These stats just came across for 2023 already. There's been 1,476 leaving with a full pension. Okay. How about this? 1,040 leaving without a pension for a total of 2,516. This is the largest exodus in decades.
You've never seen it. I've never seen that. Nobody left before 20. That was sort of, the promised land. Okay. A couple things going on with this.
But you get half your salary for the rest of your life.
That's right. And you still get a pretty good benefit package. Now, look, you're not going to get rich, but you're going to have 3 hots in a cot for the most part.
And you usually get out, you're around 40 years old if you join around at high school.
If you join young, you actually can leave as a relatively young person. There's a few things. First of all, because they're so short on police right now, they are destroying them in overtime, right? So what that means, and this is a nuance, but it just shows the poor planning of the city. Cops are not going to see, or at least this is the calculus, that they very well may not see these kinds of numbers for their pension going forward. Your pension can be based on your last year in service. So a lot of cops say to themselves, you know what, I'll never see these numbers again. I have to go. I don't want to go, but I got my 20, I'm going to go. If you don't have 20 and you're leaving, that's the really bad sign, because that just means, you know what, I'll start over. So your time is not going to carry over. You're starting from the beginning. You're a rookie in Florida. That's a very bad sign.
Paul, tell me what they talk about in their cop cars is the main reason, what they're most worried about and the main reason they're leaving.
Right. So, police do a tough job. It's often very dangerous. For whatever reason, you don't really think about getting shot. You don't really think about the danger. What cops worry about day in and day out, what they talk to each other about, is getting indicted. They're afraid of criminal liability these days. They really do feel like they have a target on their back. Does anybody worry about that? Sure, some people worry about the danger, but for the most part, they're worried about the fact that they're dealing in a hostile system that sees them as the bad guy, that undoes whatever work they do immediately. The perps get right out.
And they look what the attorney general thinks about cops.
The president has said, in his estimation, the criminal justice system is intrinsically, institutionally racist. That's the president of the country. So you know how they feel.
So, and they have qualified immunity, or don't they?
Qualified immunity is not what people think. The thing that they really need to be is indemnified. And there is a trend nationwide of law departments saying, you know what you did is outside our standards. You're on your own.
And we got about 29,000. We've got 30,000.
We're going to go down to about 29,000.
And we're stopping the next 2 academies, half of which are not full anyway, but we don't have the money, they claim, because of the illegal immigration in the city.
A boohoo segment for the police. That's essentially what this segment is. But I guess it was brought up because of Palestinian protests, because they showed the video where the protests at this particular location, they were calling, or they were saying KKK, IDF, Israel Defense Forces, and the police are all the same. And I guess it really shocked them. I don't understand why that shocks people, considering the history and the genesis of the police in the United States. They literally were slave catchers. So comparing them to the KKK, why is that so far removed to you in your mind? Unless you are trying to push the propaganda narrative that cops are here for our good. Starting with saying all the same talking points they always say. It's a dangerous job. Is it? Because I mainly see police harassing protesters, giving out tickets, harassing taxpayers. That's what I mainly see police doing.